There are nights when you lay in silence, eyes open, body tired, but your heart won't rest. You start thinking back over your day, the people you tried to help, the moments you said yes even when you wanted to say no, the times you put on a smile so no one would worry, and deep down something doesn't feel right. You gave your energy, your time, your care, but instead of feeling fulfilled, you feel empty. Instead of feeling appreciated, you feel forgotten. And instead of feeling closer to peace, you feel further away from yourself. It's confusing, isn't it? You're doing what you thought was good. You're being kind, helpful, understanding, but somehow it still hurts. It still drains you. And somewhere in that quiet pain, you begin to wonder, is something wrong with me? Am I too sensitive? Am I not strong enough? But the truth is, nothing is wrong with you. What's hurting you is not your kindness. What's hurting you is giving too much of yourself in places where your soul cannot breathe. It's saying yes when your heart is silently pleading for rest. It's trying to be everything for everyone without realizing that you're slowly becoming nothing to yourself. You see, kindness is beautiful. It's from Allah. It softens hearts. It brings light to dark places. But even kindness needs direction. Even kindness needs protection. If it is not guided by wisdom, it can lead you into exhaustion instead of reward. If it is not balanced, it can become a doorway for others to take more than they should. So if you've ever cried quietly after helping someone who didn't say thank you, if you've ever given your time to someone who forgot you the moment they felt better, if you've ever smiled in a room full of people but felt completely unseen, then know this reminder is for you. Not to make you stop being kind, but to help you guard your kindness. Not to make you harder, but to help you become wiser. Because your peace matters. Your worship matters. Your relationship with Allah matters. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for others is to learn when to say yes with joy and when to say no with grace. So take a deep breath. This isn't the end of your softness, it's the beginning of your strength. And inshallah, today's reminder will help you walk that path with peace, with clarity, and with a heart that gives but never breaks. Lesson 1, kindness is a gift, not an obligation. Kindness is one of the most beautiful gifts Allah has placed in our hearts. It is a sign of faith, a reflection of mercy, and a doorway to reward. But just because you have kindness inside you doesn't mean you have to give it away to everyone all the time, without pause. Kindness is not something you're forced to hand out like a duty or a burden. It's a gift, a precious one, and like any valuable gift, it must be given with care, not pressure. Sometimes we confuse being kind with saying yes to everything. We think we have to always be available, always smile, always agree, even when we're tired, even when we're hurting inside. But that's not how kindness works. True kindness doesn't come from pressure. It comes from sincerity, from a heart that gives for the sake of Allah, not out of fear, guilt, or trying to please people who don't care how you feel. Imagine a lantern lighting up a dark room. It gives warmth and brightness, but even that lantern needs oil to keep burning. If you keep letting it shine without refilling it, the flame will slowly grow dim and eventually it will go out. That's how your kindness works too. You are that lantern. If you keep giving and giving without pausing to rest, reflect, and connect with Allah, your light will start to fade. You'll feel empty. You'll feel tired. You'll feel lost. This is why it's so important to protect your energy, to take care of your heart, to refill your soul with things that strengthen you like prayer, dhikr, reading Quran, and moments of silence where you remember your purpose. You're not meant to carry everyone's problems. You're meant to give in a way that pleases Allah, not breaks you. So the next time you feel exhausted from being too kind, step back and ask yourself, am I giving from a full heart or an empty one? Because when you give from a full heart, your kindness becomes a light for others and a blessing for yourself. But if you're running on empty, even your kindness can turn into quiet pain. Let your kindness be guided by wisdom. Let it come from love for Allah, not fear of people. And always remember, you were never created to be everything for everyone. You were created to be sincere with your Lord. And that sincerity includes knowing when to give and when to pause. When you do that, your kindness won't fade, it will last. It will heal. and it will bring light to the right hearts in the right way at the right time. Lesson 2. Your heart is an amana, trust. Your heart is not just a feeling center. It's a trust from Allah. It's something He gave you to protect, to care for, and to use wisely. And one day, He will ask you about it, just like He will ask you about your eyes, your ears, your time, and your words. That's what Allah tells us in the Quran, that your heart is part of your responsibility. You don't just give it away freely to anyone or anything. You guard it because it's a gift. And gifts from Allah are not meant to be wasted. Think of your heart like a garden. If you leave the gate open all the time, anything can come in. Wild animals, harmful weeds, even thieves. Soon, your garden isn't full of flowers anymore, it's full of damage. That's what happens when we allow people into our emotional space who don't value us. When we say yes to everything, even when it hurts us. When we keep trying to please those who only take advantage, slowly our peace disappears. Our faith feels heavy. Our heart becomes tired. Protecting your heart doesn't mean closing it off completely. It means being mindful. It means asking yourself, is this person, this situation, this decision bringing me closer to Allah or pulling me further away? If it's pulling you away, then it's time to close the gate. Not out of pride, but out of care. Not out of anger, but out of wisdom. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to be soft, but also to be wise. He forgave, but He also walked away. He loved, but He never let people misuse His kindness. That's how you protect your heart, by following His example. You don't have to give access to everyone. You don't have to explain your boundaries to those who only want to cross them. Your peace is not for sale. Your heart is not public property. It belongs to Allah first, and He has trusted you to take care of it. So the next time someone drains you or makes you feel guilty for protecting your space, remember this: your heart is not weak for needing rest. It's not selfish to step back and breathe. It's called stewardship. You are watching over something sacred. And when you protect your heart with sincerity, when you guard it for the sake of Allah, He will fill it with light, with peace, and with strength that no one else can take away. Lesson 3, a gentle no can be an act of ibadah. Sometimes we think that saying no makes us rude, unkind, or less generous. We've been raised to believe that if we truly care, we should always say yes. Yes to helping, yes to showing up, yes to sacrificing, even when we are tired, even when we are not okay inside. But this mindset, when taken too far, can quietly harm us. Because in trying so hard to make everyone else happy, we start losing ourselves. And slowly we lose our peace, our time, our connection with Allah. Saying no doesn't always mean you're turning someone away. Sometimes it means you're turning back to Allah. You're choosing what matters most. If someone asks for your time, but you haven't prayed, yet saying, I can't right now, is not rejection. It's protection. It's prioritizing your purpose. It's placing your worship before your reputation. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that the strong believer is more beloved to Allah than the weak believer. That strength isn't just about physical power, it's also the strength to stand your ground with kindness, to protect your schedule, to guard your mind, to keep your heart steady. It's being able to say no when something pulls you away from what Allah loves for you. Think about how often we agree to things we don't have energy for. We attend gatherings while our hearts are heavy. We stay up late responding to every message even though we haven't opened the Quran all day. We put off salah to keep a conversation going. We smile when we want to cry. We give and give and give until there's nothing left for ourselves or our relationship with our Creator. And when we do that too often, our kindness becomes a burden, not a blessing. But when you say no gently, sincerely, without arrogance, you are honoring your limits. You are choosing to serve Allah over pleasing people. And Allah knows your heart. He knows when that small no came from a place of worship. He knows when you stayed home because your soul needed silence. He knows when you turned off your phone just to focus on your salah. And He will reward you because every act of protecting your faith is seen by Him, even if no one else understands it. So don't feel guilty. Don't feel like you have to explain your boundaries to everyone. When your heart whispers, this will take me away from Allah, that's your sign. Step back with kindness. Say no with peace. And trust that when you honor your limits for His sake, He will open doors for you that you didn't even know existed. Your gentle no today can lead to blessings tomorrow. Because sometimes that's not just a choice, it's an act of ibadah. Lesson 4. Balance like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sometimes we think that being a good Muslim means always doing more. More worship, more helping, more saying yes, more sacrificing, even when we are exhausted. But Islam teaches us something different. It teaches balance. It teaches us to live in a way that is sustainable, not in short bursts that lead to emotional and spiritual burnout. Even when it comes to worship, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us not to go to extremes. There's a beautiful story about 3 men who wanted to dedicate themselves fully to worship. One said he would pray all night and never sleep. The second said he would fast every single day without a break. The third said he would stay away from marriage to focus only on his ibadah. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard this, he didn't praise them. He gently corrected them. He told them that he himself prayed at night and he also rested. He fasted and he also broke his fast. He married and he still had the strongest connection to Allah. He reminded them that balance is part of the Sunnah, and whoever turns away from it is turning away from his way. This shows us something very important. Even when it comes to good things, too much without rest becomes a problem. And if that's true for worship, then it's also true for everything else in life: kindness, generosity, helping others, even being present for your family and friends. Sometimes you give so much of yourself to everyone around you that you end up feeling spiritually empty. You serve people all day, but you haven't spoken to Allah in days. You help everyone else solve their problems, but your own heart feels heavy and unheard. That's not the way the Prophet ﷺ lived. He taught, he helped, he led, but he also withdrew to reflect. He took time for himself. He found silence in the cave before revelation. He stood in prayer during the night. And sometimes he simply rested. This balance is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's a reminder that you are human, not a machine. If you don't slow down, you will break down. And when you burn out, even your worship can feel like a burden, and your kindness can turn into frustration. So follow the Prophet's example. Build a life of balance. Set limits not just for your time and energy, but even for your acts of goodness, so they remain consistent and joyful, not exhausting. Give but also receive. Help but also rest. Worship but also recharge. Because the most beloved deeds to Allah are not the biggest ones. They are the ones that are done regularly, even if they are small. When you live with balance, you protect both your peace and your faith. And in doing so, you come closer to Allah in a way that is gentle, lasting, and full of barakah. Lesson 5. Put on your oxygen mask first. We've all heard it on airplanes before: helping others. Put on your own oxygen mask first. At first, it may sound selfish, but it's not. It's actually wise. Because if you run out of breath while trying to help someone else, neither of you will make it. The same rule applies in life. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If your heart is exhausted, your mind is overwhelmed, and your spirit is neglected, how can you truly show up for anyone else? Sometimes we are so focused on being there for others, family, friends, co-workers, everyone, that we forget to be there for ourselves. We ignore the signs of burnout. We push through the exhaustion. We delay our prayers. We skip our rest. We silence our own sadness all in the name of being kind. But kindness that comes from an empty soul is not sustainable. Eventually, it starts to feel like a burden instead of a blessing. The truth is, you matter too. Your peace, your rest, your relationship with Allah, they are just as important as anyone else's needs. If you don't take care of yourself, you will find yourself giving without joy, helping without focus, and showing up while silently falling apart inside. That's not healthy. That's not what Allah wants from you. Allah doesn't want you to destroy yourself in the process of caring for others. He wants you to live with balance. He wants your kindness to be full of light, not weighed down by fatigue. And the only way to do that is by refilling your soul regularly. Make time for the Quran. Even a few verses a day will calm your heart. Make time for sujood. That is where you leave your burdens. Make time for quiet, healthy rest. Your body is an amana too. And surround yourself with people who remind you of Allah, not just those who drain your energy. When you take care of your soul first, something beautiful happens. Your energy becomes more sincere. Your kindness becomes deeper. Your smile becomes real again. You are no longer rushing through life on an empty tank. You're moving with purpose, with strength, with presence. You become the kind of person who helps others without losing themselves. So don't feel guilty for needing to pause. Don't feel bad for taking a breath, for stepping back, for saying, I need to recharge. That moment of self-care can be an act of worship if your intention is to return to Allah stronger. And when you return to others after filling your heart with dhikr, prayer, rest and reflection, you'll be amazed at how much more powerful your help becomes. Remember, even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam rested. Even he took time alone to reflect and connect with Allah. And you are allowed to do the same. You are not failing anyone by protecting your soul. You are simply doing what is wise. And in that wisdom, there is mercy for you and for everyone you serve. Lesson 6. Some doors must stay closed. In life, not every door is meant to stay open. Some people, some situations, and some conversations only bring stress, confusion, and emotional harm. And yet, many of us keep those doors wide open out of guilt, habit, or the fear of being misunderstood. We keep responding, keep explaining, keep trying to make things right with people who don't want peace. They want control, chaos, or conflict. And in doing so, we slowly lose our own peace. Allah tells us in the Quran about the qualities of the true servants of the Most Merciful. He says, when the ignorant address them, they say peace. Surah Al-Furqan 25 to 63. This is a lesson in emotional intelligence and spiritual dignity. It means not every situation deserves your energy. Not every harsh word needs a reply. Not every door deserves to stay unlocked. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away without anger, without hatred, just peace. There are people who only show up when they need something. People who twist your words, test your patience, and turn every conversation into a battlefield. When you start building boundaries with them, they might call you cold or distant, but in truth, you're not being harsh, you're choosing sanity. You're choosing to protect what Allah has given you. Your time, your heart, your mental clarity, and your spiritual focus. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the most patient, the most merciful, but even he did not entertain every critic. When people mocked him, lied about him, or tried to trap him in arguments, he didn't waste time trying to win them over. He gave them the truth and then he turned away. He focused on those whose hearts were open, not those whose hearts were hard. It's not weakness to walk away, it's wisdom. It's knowing the value of your peace and choosing to protect it. When a door keeps letting in hurt, you have every right to close it. You are not being unkind. You are simply recognizing that some people will never understand your silence and others will never appreciate your words. In those cases, peace isn't found through more talking. Peace is found through distance. There's a quiet strength in choosing not to respond, in choosing to let your silence be your answer. Because peace is not always in fixing. Sometimes peace is in letting go. It's in knowing you did your part and now Allah will take care of the rest. You're not responsible for how others treat you. You're responsible for how you respond. So when your heart feels heavy around certain people, when every conversation ends in stress, when your kindness is met with sarcasm or blame, don't force it. Close the door. Not out of anger, but out of protection. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's survival for your soul. Let go of the guilt. You don't owe access to those who bring harm. You don't need to explain your boundaries to people who keep crossing them. Some doors must stay closed, not forever, but until and unless they lead to peace. Because your peace is precious. And anyone who truly cares for you will never ask you to give it up just to keep them close. You were not created to be a prisoner to toxic people. You were created to be a servant of the Most Merciful. And the more you value your peace, the closer you will feel to Him. Because His servants are not loud, reactive, or constantly drained. They are calm, firm, and full of light. Be like them. Say peace and walk away when you must. Lesson 7. Boundaries make love bloom. Love is a beautiful thing. Whether it's love for your family, your friends, your spouse, or even your community, it brings warmth to the heart and light to the soul. But love, to stay pure and healthy, needs structure. It needs protection. And that's where boundaries come in. People often think that setting boundaries means you're being cold or distant, but that's not true. Boundaries don't stop love. They help love grow in the right direction. Just like fences around a garden don't stop the flowers, they protect them so they can bloom. Think of your heart like that garden. When you give your time, your emotions, your energy, and your support, you are planting seeds of care. But if there are no boundaries, anything can come in. People can trample the flowers, weeds can take over, the soil can become dry and tired. Then even the most sincere love starts to feel heavy. You feel overextended. You start doing things out of guilt instead of joy. You give, but your heart grows more and more empty. That is not what love is meant to feel like. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks. You can open them to the right people at the right time. But you also have the ability to close them when things become harmful or draining. Love needs space. Love needs respect. If someone truly loves you, they will not be offended by your boundaries, they will appreciate them. They will see that you are making space for the relationship to grow in a healthy, honest, and sincere way. Even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with his endless mercy and gentleness, had boundaries. He made time for others, but he also made time for himself and his worship. He forgave people, but he also distanced himself from those whose hearts were not sincere. He taught the ummah with compassion, but he never allowed himself to be taken advantage of. His life is the perfect example of balanced love that gives but also protects. Many people think that being a good Muslim means being available to everyone all the time. But that's not true. Being good doesn't mean being constantly exhausted. Kindness is not measured by how much you allow yourself to be drained. Love is not proven by how often you say yes while your soul is saying no. Real love thrives when both people feel respected and safe. Boundaries help with that. They teach others how to treat you. They remind them that your time is valuable, your heart is not limitless, and your worship comes first. And most importantly, they remind you that your worth does not come from being everything to everyone. It comes from your sincerity with Allah. When you start placing boundaries, you will begin to feel peace returning. You'll notice that the right people will remain and the wrong people will fall away. You'll see that your energy will be used more wisely. Your relationships will feel lighter, more meaningful. You'll have space to breathe, to rest, to reflect. You'll have time to remember Allah without rushing. And in that space, your love becomes pure again. Not something forced, not something draining, but something natural and fulfilling. So don't be afraid to draw the line when you need to. The garden of your heart is not open land, it is sacred soil. Not everyone deserves access to it. Set the boundaries with kindness. Guard your peace with intention. And remember, when you protect what Allah has given you, He fills it with more barakah than you ever imagined. That's when love truly blooms. That's when your heart finally feels alive again.